Hi there. You know, when you read a book or a trilogy or, and you close the last page and you feel like you have been touched by what you have read, and you feel like it will stay with you forever. And that is an amazing feeling because we book readers, book lovers, bookworms, whatever you want to call us, we read lots of books. And some of them we just enjoy and that's it. And some of them we don't like. And some of them you feel like they're speaking directly at you. And that when you close the last page, they're going to stay with you forever. And this trilogy has been it for me. I mean, this is the last book of the Broken Hair trilogy, and you can see it's the Stone Sky, and I just devoured it. I mean, the first book took me like a couple of days to read. The second one was like 3 or 4 because I found it a bit more dense because there was more construction of the wall and of the characters, and it gets into some explanation about how everything that we are going to find in the trilogy came to be. It's a very revealing book, and we are going to finish learning how all the world and the situations and the seasons and why the herd, we are going to finish learning all this journey in this one. And but I felt that the first two, I don't know, I felt like that way we're constructing something, and this one was the one that obviously closes it. But for me it was easier to read this one because I needed to know how it all ended. I needed to know if they will be able to fix the world, to save the people, to, because it becomes obvious in this one that Nassun and Essun are going to be wanting very different things. And that they both won't be able to prevail and to have what they desire. So for me, it was like, it was this counterclock reading in which I wanted to know what was going to happen. Will they both survive? Will they both get what they want? Which is the one that's going to get everything? Are they going to get anything? Are all of them going to die? What's going to happen? So I felt like the first two were like the preparation, and this one was like the finish line, and I just couldn't put it down. I read in one day, and it's been an amazing journey. In this one, we are going. If you haven't read the first two books, please stop seeing the review now because I'm going to be referring to them, and they're going to be spoilers of the previous two books. None of this one, but of the previous two. Okay. We have been shown in the previous books about the dehumanization of people, of those who are different, in order to being able to slave them and use them and abuse them. And in the second one, we saw what those people have to go through when they break the chains. Because one thing is the physical chains, so to speak, and another one it's the ones that you have inside of you and your mind, and the mental struggles that being raised thinking that you are less, that you are a monster, that you are whatever, impacts on your way of seeing things. I remember in the second book when Nassun decides just, to, okay, fuck it. I mean, they think I'm a monster, so let me be a monster. And I thought that moment was very powerful because, she needs to cut ties with her father, and she knows that only one of them can survive. And she's tired of trying to please everyone. She's tired of hiding who she is. She's tired of pretending she's something other than she is, so her father can be comfortable around her. Because he says, "I love you, but I don't love who you are, what you are." So that's not love. That's. And I love when she says, "Okay." Obviously, it's brought to extremes because her father tries to kill her, and she defends herself. But I love that moment. I love and I hate that moment in which she says, "Okay, you think I'm a monster? Let me be a monster." Because I love how the book, constructed this personality, this character, built this character, and it's a very solid evolution. But I hate that this character had to think like that, had to see herself a strip of humanity, and had been, always told that she was a monster. And I think it's very important when you have kids or when you have friends or when you have, to show them that they are whole as they are, and that they don't need to change anything, that they are perfect the way they are. And yeah, because sometimes when people put labels on you, you end up believing those labels. And it's not your fault, it's their projection, it's their insecurities, it's their ignorance that they put on you. So, you know, and I love that this trilogy shows you that you have to say, okay, that's enough. I won't take it anymore. I'm not going to submit to you and say, okay, you're right, I'm wrong, I deserve this. I love how this last book comes to the realization that these people that has been abused, that have been enslaved, say, okay, I'm not going to take it anymore. It's done. I mean, because one thing that history has is that it can be cyclic and it can repeat itself. In this book, we are going to learn more about how this world came to be, and we are going to learn that not only orogenies were enslaved, that there previously to that, there were other people who also were enslaved. And I love how this book tells you that sometimes not always, you have this kind of conqueror people, these people who come to some place and eradicate all those that are different. Instead of, you know, of making the community bigger, they just eliminate those who they don't want, or they enslave them, and then they live in fear because they fear a revolution, you know. And I love how these people who have been enslaved and destroyed and persecuted, I love how they get up and say, you want a revolution? You are going to have one. And I love this idea on this book. It's like it's been a journey, and I love it. And also, with this one, I had to do the same thing that I did with the first one. I had to just close the book and say, I need to breathe, I need to think. Because as I said in the first two, those books are very dark because they talk about humanity and what humanity is capable of doing. Not in an hypothetical way, like maybe human beings will be able to do that, but more like human beings have already done the things that we see here. And that hurts. And it hurts because you learn of the depravity of some human beings, and you also learn how that depravity affects other people. And there are moments in which, yeah, I had to close the book and breathe and say, I'm sorry. And yeah, we need to be part of the change and all of that. And yeah, those are the reflections on this book we're going to find in this book. We're going to continue with Essun. She's going to be traveling with the Kastrima people, and she knows where her daughter is, but she has to somehow choose between, you know, staying with the people that she has come to think of as a family, or leaving everything behind so she can rescue her daughter. But also, does her daughter needs to be rescued? If she does that, is she doing that for herself, or is she doing that for her daughter? And also, we are going to see her having more depth relationships with Hoa and with the doctor guy, which Lerna, I had forgotten the name. And I love how she learns more things about herself. And I hate that she begins to turn to stone as Alabaster did. And we are going to follow also Nassun. Nassun is traveling with Eschafa. Eschafa is getting worse. She's trying to fix him. He doesn't allow her to fix him. Maybe because he thinks there is nothing wrong with him, or you have to read the book to know why he doesn't want to be fixed. And suddenly, we are going to have Hoa's point of view, and he's going to explain to us how the world where we are living now came to be. And all that storytelling interweaves beautifully. And I feel like the whole trilogy just flows together so well. It's like one big book, you know, that you have just divided into three so you can carry it around better, because it's so seamlessly, it's so amazingly woven, it's amazing. And I love how all these characters have their own voices, and I love how you had put yourself inside this world and how everything makes sense. I thought it was very difficult to write this and to write an ending that was, you know, that you could read and be satisfied, because it's a very hard trilogy. And honestly, I didn't know what I was expecting. I could have guessed, I don't know, I don't think so, because there's so many twists and so many expected things happening on the books that I didn't even wonder how it all was going to end because I didn't have an idea. But I was thinking, oh my god, how is she going to be able to close everything? She does. She does an amazing world, and Jemisin has created one of my favorite trilogies ever. And I love that the storytelling is superb. I love the way she has about herself, about how she writes, about how she communicates, how she talks about injustice, how she talks about the slavery, how she talks about experiences about being enslaved, about how it affects you and future generations. I love how this book talks about mother and daughter relationship. I love how the characters come to realize things about themselves. Maybe I wasn't as perfect a daughter as I hoped. And maybe I wasn't as perfect a mother as I wanted to. Maybe we are all screwed up in reality. I love how no one is perfect in these books. I love how everyone has baggage. I love how it affects them, not only physically but also psychologically. Because, as I said in the review of the second book, it's very important to show that certain things have lasting effects on someone. You cannot just, change your clothes and be done with it. It's something that you are carrying and probably will affect the way in which you relate with other people forever and even with your own family. So I love how she closes up the book. I love how the story reaches this ending, and I'm not ready to leave this world behind because it's amazing. If you haven't read this author, just pick it up. I'm very happy that I did pick it up in this moment in which in which I have been able to understand everything that she is saying and not saying and just hinting at and showing you. And it's an amazing trilogy. It's very deserving of the 3 Hugo Awards that it got because it's amazing. So thank you for watching and thank you to the author for writing this trilogy. Bye.